Welcome to Elisha Space. I'm Elisha, counselor, author, and someone who has sat in that exact silence and wondered if something was wrong with me. You did the therapy, you read the books, and you cut the toxic people off. You set the boundaries, and now you're sitting in your apartment wondering, why does healing feel so lonely? Nobody warned you about this part. Today, we're talking about something I don't hear enough people addressing, especially in faith spaces: the female loneliness epidemic. And not the version the manosphere is talking about, not women are lonely because they're too picky, not that crap. We're not doing that today. And if you really got to know me, you know we probably will never do that ever. But talking about the loneliness that comes after growth, the kind where you look around and you realize that the version of you who healed doesn't fit in your old world anymore. And the new world hasn't shown up yet. Drop a broken heart in the chat if you know exactly what I'm talking about, or put it in the replay. Let me explain what actually happening neurologically and relationally, because there's real science behind why this happens. When you were in survival mode, when you were people pleasing, over functioning, ignoring red flags, you had a lot of relationships, but those relationships weren't built on connection. They were built on your dysregulation. You attracted people who needed what your trauma produced, which was compliance, overgiving, your silence. So when you healed, When you stopped over functioning, those relationships, they could not survive because they were never built on who you are. They were built on your wound. So here's the clinical term. It is relational recalibration. Your nervous system has literally changed what it can tolerate. The people who felt normal before now feel exhausting. The chaos that used to feel like love and now feels like a threat. And your body got smarter, but your social world hasn't caught up to you yet. And here's what makes this worse. I want you to notice where you feel this. Your body remembers every relationship that disappeared, when you got healthy. That absence is sitting somewhere in your chest right now. I'm just wondering, how many relationships did you lose when you started healing? You don't need to name them. It's just a number. Now, let me make this a little bit more uncomfortable because the church should be the answer to loneliness. That's literally what the body of Christ is supposed to be, community. But yeah, yeah, as an adult, stepped out most definitely. And hey, but here's what I see in my practice over and over again: women who heal become threatening in church spaces. You start setting boundaries, and suddenly you're difficult, right? You stop volunteering for everything, and now you're not serving. You ask hard questions about theology, and you're rebellious. You name abuse, and you're divisive. The church often rewards the version of you that was broken, the one who said yes to everything, who never complained, who overserved from an empty cup. And when that version dies, the community that needed her doesn't know what to do with the woman who replaced her. Galatians 1:10 says, "Am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." So Paul literally said, the moment you stop people pleasing, expect to be misunderstood. So, has anyone experienced losing community because you grew? Type yes in the chat if that's you. See, because you are not crazy, you are not too much. You grew, and the container just couldn't hold you anymore. I want to give you a framework so you can name what you're actually experiencing because not all loneliness is the same. So, type 1 is subtraction loneliness. This is the grief of who you had to release, the friendships, the family members, maybe even the church. You did the right thing by letting go, but right doesn't mean painless. This type requires grief work, not more socializing. Type 2 is identity loneliness. This is when you don't even know who you are outside of your old roles. You were the caretaker, the peacekeeper, the strong friend. And now that you've stopped performing those roles, you don't know what you bring to a room anymore. This type requires identity reconstruction. Type 3 is liminal loneliness. This is the in between. You've outgrown the old, but haven't found the new. You know what you don't want, but you haven't found what you do want. And this is the hardest one because it requires patience. And your nervous system doesn't do patience well when it's been in survival mode for 20 years. So, what type are you right now? Are you 1, 2, or 3? You can put that in the chat or in the replay, whichever you watch, well, no matter how you're watching it. And okay, so what do we actually do in these situations? Because just because you're out there is terrible, just putting yourself out there is horrible, especially if your nervous system is recalibrating, right? So here's what I tell my clients. Step 1, stop pathologizing the loneliness. Loneliness after healing is not a sign that you did something wrong. It's a sign that you outgrew a system that was built on your smallness. Reframe it. This isn't punishment, it's transition. And you'll see I say that word a lot because a lot of times, aren't we always in some size, shape, or form in transition? Step 2, give yourself time to grieve intentionally. You need to mourn the relationship you lost, not because those people deserved you, but because your body needs to process the loss. Journal it, pray through it, say their names to God and release them. Step 3, start small and slow. Your nervous system cannot handle just join a Bible study with 30 strangers. That can be overwhelming for a regulated person, let alone someone in relational recalibration. So just start with one person, one safe conversation, one coffee, and let your body learn that connection doesn't have to cost you something. Step 4, find healed community, not just any community. You need people who are also doing the work, not people who are going to shame you back into performing. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verses 9 and 10 says, Two are better than one. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But notice it says either, mutual, not one person carrying the other. You need reciprocal relationships now. So, what's the hardest step for you? 1, 2, 3, or 4? And if you're feeling brave, tell me why. Amen, Safdal. New beginnings. New beginnings for sure. So, I want to open this up. And if you want to do this in the replay, that's fine too. If you're sitting in loneliness right now, or if you're in one of those 3 types, you can go ahead and bring your questions to the chat and I can speak to your specific situation. And listen, there's no dumb question here. It all matters, especially if you feel it. So I'll just take a moment and just see if you guys have any questions. And if not, then I'm going to keep pushing it forward. All right. Since currently there are no questions, that's fine. I'm just going to keep it moving. You can always reach out to me privately if you have a question, and I'll create a video about your question, um, respecting your privacy. Or if you want, you can put it in the replay. You can put it in the chat, and I'll respond to your question then. Okay, because we're all here to support one another, right? So this was a heavy one, and I want to honor that. And let's bring your body back down before we go back to your day. So, with feet on the floor, hands open, let's take a moment to breathe. In for 4. Oh, before we do the breathing, I see Savdal has a question. I just told God to remove fake people from my life. I'm here alone. Girl, I know that's right. Leave them folks alone. Right? You can stay right over there. That's kind of like how I am too. I I'm I'm someone, if you're not for me, it's okay. It's okay. I can love you from afar or not love you from afar, whatever the situation is, really, you know. But yeah, yeah. And I was praying with a friend earlier today. We were praying similar things with each other, you know, because relationships, they matter, you know, they truly, truly do. They matter. So let's go back to and oh, there. Let me add one more thing to that subject because that came to my what came to my mind too, is that we always want to be intentional about community, you know, because we were not created to be isolated. We were not created to be separated from everyone. So you always want to be intentional about paying attention to um, people that are for you and nourishing those relationships and growing those relationships while you're in this new space of healing. And sometimes you can get so caught up in being someone who is accustomed to, right, no, don't force it, but you can always be someone who has been so accustomed to being mistreated. When you're in this new space, sometimes it can look like healthy can feel different, right? So always be organic about it and just kind of pay attention to the dynamics within that relationship. But it should always be organic and it should not be forced. Most definitely. You don't want to force it at all. No, no. And even the removal of the people, like most of the time, at least for myself, it organically happens where the Lord releases them, you know, from my life, you know. Like I hadn't talked to you in 6 months. So that kind of happens too. So there's that. Okay. So any other we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to the breathing, and if you want to add a comment, it's fine, because this space, it is for you, right? So feet on the floor, hands open, and let's breathe. In for 4, hold for 4, and then out for 6. And I'm going to put in the 432 hertz to help our anxiety come down from being whatever your day was like today, whatever you had to deal with this morning, whether it was a conversation, whether it was something unexpected that happened at work. And we'll go back to the breathing. As we breathe in for 4, hold for 4, and release for 6. One more time, breathe in for 4, hold for 4. We're regulating our nervous system. We're bringing in peace within the middle of our day. And we're breathing out for 6. And here's what I want to leave you with. Isaiah 41:10, as you continue your breathing. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. You are not alone, even when it feels like you are. God is not punishing you for healing. He's not withholding community from you. You're in a transition, and transitions feel like emptiness before they feel like freedom. Your challenge, I want you to reach out to just one person, not a group, not a Bible study, one person that feels safe. Send a text that says, I've been thinking about you. Can we grab a coffee? That one small act of reaching towards someone. I love you. I'm proud of you for being here. And save this video and share it with the woman who needs to hear this. It's Saturday, and Saturday's going to be completely different. We're going to do some live inner child work, and you won't want to miss that. Before I close, I'll check the comments, and then we will end. So, I will see you guys Saturday. Savdal, it's so great to see you in the chat. And I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful rest of your day as you go back in peace. Bye, everybody.